Hello, everybody. My name is NobleAsta, and I am here with my buddy Isaac, and we are going to be talking about the fact that this game doesn't have to break your bank to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best part about One Piece is that you can honestly build a pretty competitive deck for kind of a budget price point to where you're not hurting too bad going into a local tournament.
Exactly. And real quick, I did want to shout out my buddy Isaac. His channel is Shadow.TCG. He's doing a really cool series called Budget Pirate Progression, where he is basically, it's like you're taking decks and just adding to them, right? And yeah, it's really cool.
Starting from a starter deck, $10 a week, trying to see what we can do, trying to win a local tournament off of a budget.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that is possible. And I mean, I know the prices of these cards are scary sometimes, but you don't need to break the bank, which is great because I don't want to break my bank. So real quick, I do want to shout out Card D Kaizoku because I am going to be posting images from his deck builder. Link will be in the description, and that's just going to show you guys about a rough price of these decks. So our first deck, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so our first deck here is Belo Betty. Belo Betty is a deck that was kind of a tier 2 rogue deck for the longest time, but now with the new bans and a lot of control decks coming out, aggro is back, red is back. You just put everything up on the board and try and kill them before they get to 10 Dawn, and honestly, it's not that bad of a strategy.
Betty, I played a Betty in our tournament today. It was scary. I had to do everything. I had to completely change my usual plays because Karasu, if you keep Karasu on board, your leader's a 3k. Mm-hmm. That is so hard, even as a like purple Luffy, that is so hard to counter out of. So a lot of power in that deck, and yeah, I think it's a scary deck to swing into as well because you've got all those potential triggers and getting more bodies out on the board, which just floods board potentially faster than Luffy, I think. But
they can put 3 bodies on board in a turn. They can swing 8Ks every single turn. They can have triggers out of life. Honestly, if they're rushing you down and they have the Karasu, you might as well just scoop it up.
Our next deck is a Reiju. Reiju was really popular. What was that? Was 7? Yeah, she was really big around the time where Law was running around. Yeah, she was super big around that time. Struggled a little bit into Law, but Law's not around. And that deck is, Reiju plays that low Dawn, is incredibly aggressive, especially if you see those EGGs. And she's getting buffs in the next, is it the next set?
I think so. She gets a couple cards here and there, but really the scary thing about Reiju is that they can play Black Maria. So you're playing from behind Dawn, playing on low Dawn all game. But if they put out the Black Maria, all of a sudden they're back to 9-10 Dawn. So they're coming at you with the insane amount of pressure while being equal to you.
Yeah, that Black Maria is so annoying to get rid of. And it's a 2k, which is just, ouch. Yeah, super good deck. Really fun. It is, I think, a little bit tricky with the Dawn manipulation. I know when I started in One Piece, I was incredibly confused by the Dawn manipulation and like what Dawn and -1 means. But 9 times out of 10, go to a local with it, ask somebody if you're not sure, and I've found that most One Piece players are super chill.
That's the hope, at least.
Yeah, it is the hope, hopefully. Fingers crossed, but yeah, super good deck, and I mean, the alt arts are beautiful on that deck, I think, so. But that's not very budget, so. Yeah, let's go to our next deck. Our next deck is Kalgara. I know basically jack shit about this deck, so.
So Kalgara is a really niche scenario where it fits okay into the meta right now. It's pretty much the only budget yellow deck that you're going to get, and it kind of takes advantage of the fact that we're going into a control meta. And in EVO2, I believe, is when they get the new Enel, where it's a 10 cost rush and you get to heal every time you swing with it.
That's
and
crazy.
So Kalgara is going to be pretty good going into the next set. We don't know how much that card's going to cost, but Kalgara, cheap budget option if you want to try out yellow, why not?
Yeah, he seems really fun. I know I had a pretty good time when I tried him on the sim. And then isn't he has one of the only cards that can bottom deck a stage, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he is one of the wipers. I could be wrong, but because you have the opportunity to bottom deck your own stage, which is the upper yard stage, or you can bottom deck opponents, and that could be Reiju stage, the Germa 66, or even Blackbeard stage.
Yeah, very niche, but it will come up.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, yellow is really good. The Sky Island package is pretty fun to play. Yeah, I think that deck is pretty fun indeed. Oh, I love our next leader. I love her, Boa Hancock. She is so much fun. I played her a ton when she came out. What was that? 7?
7, yeah.
7. And she's a blue deck, and she draws every time you remove a card. by effect, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of builds running around that run like the Kyros, the 10 cost Kaido that bounces, special Muggy Ball even. I got rolled by a Boa literally today on the sim. Who I had nothing. Played something down, they were like special Muggy Ball. And it's just so good. And we had a Boa today that placed really well, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Into the top cut. And honestly, Boa is a leader that nobody expects. Because they're going to establish a board, they're going to put up high units, and they're getting rid of your board all at the same time. It loses a little bit of gas with the Jinbei ban, but honestly, they just got more power with the Kairos coming out in the newest set in OP10. They're just doing everything they can to put big bodies on the board and get rid of your board. How do you compete with that?
No, I love, and not to mention Boa has access to tools like Red Rock, Gravity Blade. So, you play out your, 10 cost Shanks, or your buddy plays out their 10 cost Shanks, Red Rock, it's gone. That, like, if you have the answer, like, Boa is going to be the deck that's going to have the answer for anything your opponent plays. And it is very fun. Played a lot of it in 07. Highly recommend. I think, is this our last deck? No, we have a couple more.
We have a few more. Our next one up is Blackbeard. So, a couple different ways that people build this deck. Obviously, you have the Kuzans and the Finger Pistols that get pretty expensive, but there are budget alternatives to a few of those cards. So Kuzan is coming down in price a little bit. I believe at the time of recording this video, they're around $5.
That's not terrible.
And then while Finger Pistol is like $10 and it's pretty expensive, there's budget options like True No Bastardo out of set 4. And I played it in a budget series with being able to rest the leader on the turns where you don't swing, say, big blockers. You're popping a big 6 cost. If you flood your trash because you want to get your Jesus Burgess really huge, you're popping a 6 cost. How do you do that with other cards?
No, that sounds really interesting, actually. I'm going to have to check that one out. Yeah, I mean, Blackbeard is just kind of a menace to play into. I know that I've had to completely change, like, my Purple Luffy deck to be able to even, like, handle Blackbeard. And it's still a matchup that I really struggle with. So, really good deck, I think. I don't know how it places meta-wise, but
it's around tier 1.5. It is the gatekeeper. Either you know how to play into Blackbeard, or you're going to lose the matchup going up against 10 cost Teach turn after turn.
Yeah. Oh my god, 10 cost Teach ruins my life, dude. It's a 12k blocker. Like, what do you... I know for Law I had to tech in Straw Sword just in case, but it's a monster of a deck, and it does have a bit of a skill ceiling, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
It looks a little too big brain for me, but
it's a hard deck to play. But if you can learn the ins and outs of it, you're going to be rewarded so much, especially if your opponent doesn't know how to play into it.
Yeah, which I feel like a lot of people in 09 when Blackbeard came out, they were really excited. They got on it, and as they realized, oh, this deck is really difficult and tricky to play, they've dropped it. So I feel like there's less Blackbeard players around. So definitely able to take control of the game, and hopefully your locals. I mean, if your opponents don't know how to play against Blackbeard, that you guys should be able to do it. Yeah. We also have Zoro. There's so many different ways to build Zoro at this point in the game. I know the build I was looking up for this series was the original Zoro build before the animal package came out, where you're running a bunch of small bodies and just buffing them up with things like, what's her name? Machina. Yeah, so that's the build I was looking at, but I'm sure you can find an animal Zoro build that's not terribly expensive.
Well, in red as a color, it is the definition of rush. You're just trying to push down your opponent. You're giving plus power to all your characters. You have so much good generic support, like Gold D, Roger, being able to just throw out a 10 cost 13k unit that says, if I have 0 life or you have 0 life and you go off, that's the game.
Yeah, that's I love that card. It's such a cool alternate win condition. I hope they do more cards like that. But yeah, I mean, I think red is the easiest color to learn too.
100%.
So you're like I had played like a couple TCGs briefly, like a couple games of Magic here and there before I got into One Piece. And I know, as I've mentioned several times on the channel, my buddy X, he let me borrow his Zoro deck one day when I showed up to just watch and see what the game was about. And I picked it up, and yeah, now we're here. I just think that, and yeah, when my buddy was getting into it, Zoro, here you go, easy deck to learn.
Yeah, Zoro was the first deck that I played when I got into the game. It was set 3, and just being able to put out bodies that do whatever and being able to boost from leader, it's just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of fun, and like you said, it's not hard to learn.
Yeah,
thankfully.
Yeah, no, Zoro's a really good leader, and I think we're gonna keep seeing him around for a long time, especially as you mentioned earlier in this meta, which is turning into a rush, very aggressive rush meta. I think that's actually our list. So that's just a handful of decks. Of course, I feel like this game, there are ways that you can make any leader you want budget friendly. I mean, he made Purple Luffy budget friendly, and that's crazy. So it's, you know, just asking your peers, asking, you know, if you have a testing group, great. If don't, asking your people at locals. You can make any leader work in this game for a reasonable price. It's just kind of about finding what you can do and what card works. And there's lots of really good resources. Like, I know when I try and build, like right now, I'm trying to build Isho, the black-green Isho, and I'm just on the sim, trying it, seeing what cards there are. And yeah, there's just a lot of really good websites like that, as in really good resources to learn more.
Yeah, look through the card database on the Bandai app when you're signing up for locals. You can find so many alternative cards that play similarly to these very expensive cards. Biggest example being Finger Pistol and True Bastardo. Is it a 1-to-1 copy? Of course not. That's the reason that Finger Pistol costs a lot of money. However, True Bastardo is a 20-cent card that fills 90% of the role that Finger Pistol does. And there's so many other different examples in every deck, in every color. Just give it a try and see what you can find.
Yeah, I think, like, honestly, like, I'm not a very good deck builder, unlike you, but I think that the most fun I've had in this game is trying what I think might work, trying it out, asking for feedback, and just seeing what I can do. I mean, I took Rosinante to a locals not that long ago, and I went to too. I was pretty happy with that. But yeah, you can take any leader, any deck, make it budget friendly. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Isaac. It was great. Once again, his channel will be in the description below. Go check out his Budget Pirates series. It's really cool, and I honestly wish I had the brain power to do a series like that, but he's your guy. So that's going to do it for us. If you like this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day.